Well, good afternoon. We appreciate you taking some time to join us today. My name is Tim Means. I'm Director of Product Management for Metasecure Solutions, and also joining me today is Joanne Pekich, who is our Marketing Director.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Today we're going to talk about emergency communications and notification, how you can leverage what's already installed at your site to use as building blocks for a more powerful, more effective emergency communication system. We'll also discuss the 6 steps involved in setting up this type of emergency system for your site. When emergencies strike, your people need to know what's happening and what they should do as quickly as possible. And you want to be able to communicate with them in ways they can't ignore. You've probably heard a lot about the importance of communication layers. In other words, broadcasting your alerts and instructions through multiple channels simultaneously. That communication should be impossible to ignore and hard to misinterpret. There is a whole psychology to how people behave in an emergency. But when people receive the same alerts and instructions through different channels, they are more likely to act quickly and follow instructions. You may have many different devices already installed at your site that can be used to broadcast audio, flashlights, and display text. Until recently, there was no easy way to take control of all of these different devices simultaneously in an emergency. Now, new software tools can connect and control your existing communications equipment. On the screen, you see displayed a diagram that shows the Metasecure eSIM software. eSIM stands for Emergency Communications Information Management. In an emergency, eSIM lets you blanket your site with actionable alerts, instantly broadcast via IP phones, push out desktop pop-ups, announce over PA speakers, and display on digital signs. If you have a third-party text and email system, the same alert can be delivered to people's cell phones and can go to email inboxes using your existing email server. This is a very powerful way to leverage your existing capabilities and maximize the impact of your emergency notification. We're going to talk about how the system works and what it takes to configure it for your site, but first, we're going to flip over and just do a little 1-minute demo so you can see it in action. Joanne is going to run the demo system, and I'll narrate and explain what you're seeing.
There we go.
Okay, so what you see now is the user interface for the Metasecure eSIM software. On the upper left-hand side, you see a window that's called Instant Alerts, and so you've got some large buttons. These are instant alerts that have been pre-configured so that they can be executed very quickly. In our eSIM, we provide a standard set of instant alerts, but we could also show you how to customize these for your particular site. On the upper right portion of the screen, you see it's a map section. So we show a site map and then different floor plan views of different buildings and facilities that you would have on site. This helps you visualize the site and understand where somebody is in the building, where different life safety equipment may be located. So it provides a lot of information that can be very helpful in managing an emergency. As you can see on the floor plan Joanne's on now, we have an AED device, and that would help you in that situation when someone needs that, to be able to direct them to find that type of equipment. On other floors, for example, we have an IP phone, so that represents that this floor has IP phone capabilities, and that those systems will be used in your notification. Immediately below the map, we have a log area, so every system event is captured, logged, and that can be reviewed in the future for historical review or reporting purposes. So we'll do an instant alert as a demonstration. So to send an instant alert, you select one of the instant alert buttons, and then when you do, the system asks you, are you really ready to send this alert out? To do that, Joanne will click and hold the send button. Before she does that, once she sends the alert, we'll bring up a little webcam and you'll be able to see a digital sign with the alert desktop pop-up. You'll see an IP phone. There's actually a PA speaker and you can't see it, but it's alerting in the room with us and you'll hear it. So Joanne, whenever you're ready.
Attention. A tornado has been reported in this area. Go to the basement or lowest level hospital in this building immediately. Move away from windows and doors. Seek shelter under large curtains. Do not leave this building. Shelter in place at this location until further notice.
Okay, so what you saw was the same alert being pushed out over an LCD screen, came across the IP telephone, also popped up on computers, that laptop, but all the computers in the facility. So you've got the same alert, the same instruction information going simultaneously out over a variety of channels at your facility, and that really helps maximize people's attention, and they're more likely then to respond positively to that notification. These are some of the standard types of endpoints that we work with. We really can tie into almost anything that has an IP address or can be activated with the contact relay. So a contact closure allows us to activate strobe lights and other types of equipment. As far as the user interface goes, you can really access that interface via any computer browser, as we're doing here. You could also use our mobile interface to launch alerts from your cell phone or tablet. There are other activation options as well. For example, some people will tie the system into a data feed or something, perhaps a sensor or detector that is putting out a signal, and that can automatically trigger alerts. For example, if a tornado warning is issued or perhaps a gas leak was detected in the building, you would configure the system to automatically make those announcements and again push that across a variety of channels simultaneously.
So how does it work? Because the software needs to integrate with existing equipment at your site or sites, some planning, setup, and configuration is involved. The end result is a system that is customized for your facilities and for your needs. The first and most significant step is a site assessment. This is something you can do yourself or something we can help you with. The goal is to gather information about what devices you want to tie together, where they are, and even information like model numbers, things like that. There might be spots at your site where audio, lights, and signage from your existing systems don't reach. And if so, you'll need to decide whether that's a spot where you need communications coverage. For example, people often want communications coverage in cafeterias, bathrooms, or a spot where you don't need coverage like supply closets. And we will be following up with a recording of this webinar, and with that I will send a worksheet that you can use to plan if you would like to do that. Step 2 is incident and system planning. You probably have some kind of emergency incident plan or procedure for your site or sites, so this step may already be complete. The goal of step 2 is to identify who will be responsible for activating emergency alerts and what method of activation would be best for them. So will they use an internet browser, will they use a mobile device, even a panic button activation? And you'll also want to identify the hazards most likely to strike your site and the emergency response you want from your people. And based on that information, we can customize your instant pre-recorded alerts for you. Or if you just want a set of standard instant alerts, you can have that too. And as we mentioned earlier, the system also gives you the option to build incident-specific alerts. Step 3 is systems integration. And we typically do most of the work on this step. Your role would be to provide information when needed. This step involves the technical details, how your various devices connect and communicate with the software, where the server will reside, etc. Most IP device manufacturers offer application programming interfaces, called APIs, that make it easy to tie things together. If you have older analog devices, there may be an input-output port we will use to connect them. Sometimes this requires some additional hardware interface devices that act as gateways. If you have older or less common devices, we may also need to write some code to have your device talk to the eSIM software.
Okay, step 4. Step 4 is testing. Testing ensures that the system works just the way it was designed. Testing typically falls into 2 categories. When we have remote access to a system, we can analyze network operations, we can see data packets, we can test the communications infrastructure and the integrations between systems, and then we can also then centrally or remotely push out updates or fixes to get everything working properly. The other type of testing is sort of on-site, the physical test that verifies that the appropriate text or voice announcement is being made at the appropriate place, so that the notifications can be heard clearly and can be seen easily, so that the impact at the site is what you want it to be. Step 5, and this is really one of the most important steps, is training. When someone's been trained on a system or an integrated system like this, they need to refresh that experience and so that when an emergency happens, they're not in a learning curve, but they're actually they're trained and they're prepared to operate the system properly. We do both online training and on-site or at-site training. Our system is designed to be easy to use, but we want to make sure that every system operator is comfortable and knows how to do what they have to do if they were in a situation where they're under pressure. And finally, step 6 is the ongoing support and maintenance of a system. Ongoing support and maintenance is important for any mission-critical system. We have security, we have partners in every region of the country. We work with them to make sure that your system would be regularly updated, regularly tested, and maintained when any issues arrive. And that way, when an emergency happens, the system is up and ready to go.
One final technical detail we want to call out are server options. Our software is hosted on a server, so you can access it from anywhere. Now, some customers don't have large IT departments, and they'd rather that server be hosted and managed completely off-site by a third party. And that's an option for you. Some prefer for the server to be on-site but managed by a third party. And some customers have large active IT departments that want to host and manage the server internally. And all those options work just fine. One of the most attractive features of an IP-based system like this one is the ability to tie in other systems over time as your needs grow and change. If desired, you can tie in security systems like IP video cameras, access control systems, two-way call devices like panic buttons or our own emergency help stations. You can also use things like gas and temperature sensors to automate notification if a dangerous or undesirable condition is detected. So we've talked about the process. Let's finish up our brief webinar here by talking about the powerful capabilities you'll have once the eSIM system is in place. The eSIM system lets you communicate instantly. Seconds can save lives. On average, you have 13 minutes advance warning before a tornado strikes. People may only have seconds to take shelter if a shooter or some sort of violent attacker shows up at your site. And you typically won't even know about a building system problem like a gas leak until after it's already happened. So speed is essential. Once you know about something, you want to inform your people immediately. The eSIM system allows you to send actionable instructions. You need to actually tell people what to do and where to go in an emergency. And this is where systems like sirens break down. People hear them and assume it's just a fire drill. Even if they take it seriously, they're not sure what's going on or whether they're supposed to evacuate, take shelter, or some other action. The eSIM system lets you communicate to everyone affected, whether it's everyone on your site, everyone at multiple sites, or in just one building. It lets you communicate from wherever you are. Emergencies don't happen on a schedule. You need the tools to instantly broadcast directives throughout your site, anytime from anywhere. And finally, the eSIM system lets you broadcast throughout the instant. Depending on the crisis, you may need to alert people and provide new information and new instructions as the situation changes.
Okay, well, that's it for today. We hope that this was informative for you. We'll be glad to set up an online demonstration or an in-person demonstration, answer any questions you may have. As always, just give us a call or drop us an email. We want to thank you for making some time to join us today. Stay safe and have a good day.